There's a threshold you cross when the book starts to turn. It's a rook cheating your presence of peace. Stories rewrite, stars fleet the night, judging the cover by look. There's a dusty old line in the sand, blown to bits by my past. No longer tempting the muse. People can change, I promise I made. Fight over, fight, I refuse. Give and take, ties that you break. Why you can say you don't think that way. Come and go, no longer am I. Blood on your hands won't do. Judge not the thorn in you. At the end of the road, in the dark, lies and wait like a shark, teasing temptation and greed. Narrow my focus, staying my core, not for lust only to feed. Give and take, ties that you break. Why you can't say you don't think that way. Come and go, no longer am I. Blood on your hands won't do. Judge not the thorns in you.
Testing, mic check. Cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns. Hello, friendos. My name is Nez, and we are once again back at it again for some more Arknights, because today we are continuing our story reading of Crossing, because we have a murder to solve. As far as we know, someone tried to murder the Kazimeshan businessman that's trying to outsell the local wineries in Nuovo Volsini. Bettina herself, 10-year-old, already working, trying to make ends meet, managed to grab a deal with an exporter to Colombia. Unfortunately, Verdi Winery was forced to sell right before she managed to bring home the news. Who could it be? Who could the culprit be? I think it's all of them. I think the wineries all made an alliance to attempt to assassinate the Kazimeshan Unk. I think they all just worked together, try to assassinate him, and unknowingly killed off Repressa's mother, the conductor of the orchestra. Let us continue the story. Actually, hold up. Settings. This is my one gripe with the PC port, is that you cannot adjust volume in the middle of a stage. Okay. Ooh. Irini. Crash. For a long time afterwards, is it Irene or Irene? I'm pretty sure Irene from Iberia is pronounced Irene. But if we're in Syracuse, maybe it's Irene. Irene thought back to her hesitation that night every time she drove her truck alone. The sky is completely dark by the time the truck stops at the edge of the court square. She does not turn off the engine. The vibration is transmitted to her wrist via the steering wheel, before gradually subsiding. She called Lavinia on her way, saying she has something to discuss.
I don't know what to do, Lavinia.
Irene mutters in the driver's seat, but she cannot bring herself to finish the sentence.
You're the only one I can count on.
Is she really the only one? Irene spends a few moments in bitter silence as raindrops splash on her face through the gap in the window. She turns off the engine. Back with the truckers. Although as far as we know, Crown Slayer is all the way in Ursus, saving Doctor and Amiya.
I made more money in one trip than I did in the last 2 weeks combined. The Kazimieshans pay well.
Who's showing off? Makeup payments for this week alone wiped out a whole trip's margins for me. I don't hear you talking about the heavy fines the Kazimieshans levy.
Thanks for helping me pay my share.
Now that I've gotten paid, how much do I owe you? Don't worry about it. Brothers help each other out.
Right you are. I'll save a portion of my... and do my part next time someone gets fined.
Saving is the right move. Originium fuel prices are rising. I was just at the station and boy did it hurt to watch the numbers going up and up. Oop. Priestess is still draining Terra of its prime veins. We're seeing the ramifications all throughout these current stories. I did run into a bloke from the Leoti pharmacy at the fuel station who lent me his discount card. I should bring him a pack of smokes next time I go by to their shop.
Really? As long as Irene doesn't catch you hanging out with the wise guy.
Hanging out with who?
No, it's nothing. Ciao, Irene. Haven't seen you in a while. I think I'm going to break your delivery record soon.
Great. As a reward, you get the transportation security paperwork from the Agencia per la Sicurezza dei Trasporti.
Anything but the AST. Anyway, it's time for me to go do my job. Adopo.
I forgot that the truckers officially became the official transporters of Nova Bolsini.
He's right. We haven't seen you in camp for a while. You've gotten thinner. You gotta take care of your health, or Somer will never forgive us.
Rest in peace. Don't change the subject. What were you talking about?
It's nothing really.
Oh, come on. When will you and Sam learn? Where is Sam anyway? I didn't see him anywhere in the camp, and his schedule's empty for a few days. Where is he?
Oh, he's been sick. Fever, vomiting, diarrhea, the whole shebang. Had to go home and lie down after last night's delivery. Johnny's taking over the orders today. Kazimieshans don't pay for days off, you know. Better to find a sub if we've got one.
Never mind. I'll get a doctor to look at him.
Do you need him for anything?
Irene irritably shakes the object in her hand. It makes a swishing sound. The package is obviously a wine bottle shaped. Never mind the Saluzzo Vino logo displayed prominently on it.
Why did Saluno Vino send us a bottle of wine?
I would have thought that one of you dropped the delivery in the mailroom if the package didn't have Sam's name on it.
Oh, that's probably a moving gift from Sam's cousin's family.
Moving gift?
When his cousin's family first came to Nova Volsini, Senor Dimitri helped him out. I think he mentioned he'd send a bottle of wine as a moving gift. It's just a little wine, Irene, and it's not for him. Sam quit drinking, you know that.
I know. I'm just wondering how Senor Benon knew about Sam's cousin. And you, Ruggiero, I was planning to go shopping at your little supermarket a few days ago, only to find that it's become a Saluzzo vino outlet. Since when have you gotten so friendly with each other?
I rented it to them. Turns out managing a whole supermarket was more trouble than it's worth, and I figured I was better off driving trucks.
Were you in some sort of trouble I didn't know about? Something that you couldn't tell me? But you were comfortable telling the mafia?
It's not like that, Irene.
When will you understand? Small favors are favors too, and all favors will be repaid someday, with interest.
But they're just helping us out right now.
Are they? The Red Wine Championship starts in a few days. Is it not obvious why Saluzzo Vino sent a moving gift right now? It's just a bottle of wine at this point, but what about later? Mafia money? The familia's name? Will you go back to working for them like you used to?
Oh, if you're worried about history repeating itself, I promise you it won't. Besides, under Nova Valsini's new order, even if you don't trust me, you should trust the mayor and Judge Lavinia.
It's not that I don't trust them, it's just... Never mind. Don't forget what happened at the Carnivale. Avoid dealing with the family. You may think they're just ordinary employees and shopkeepers, but everything they do is under the watchful eyes of these wise guys.
I know it was traumatic for you, as it was for all of us. But things have changed for the Saluzzos. Benicia Jr. is gone. It's a new era of leadership. Ruggiero is interrupted by the sound of his phone ringing. Irene says nothing. She shakes her head and turns around to leave. Ruggiero hears an urgent voice as soon as he picks up the phone.
Ruggiero, I can't reach Sam. What do I do?
Come to the vehicle checkpoint and talk to. The Kazimeshians say that they're slapping an extra fine, and I can't get them to listen to me.
What?
Seeing Ruggiero's anxiety, Irene gestures for him to pass the terminal.
It's me. What's going on?
Irene? Oh, I'm glad you're there. Sam's been running a favor, so I swapped shifts with him. This run just happened to be on the way to my order, but the Kazimeshians changed the delivery destination at the last minute and I didn't make it in time. I tried to explain, but the Kazimeshian doesn't seem to understand what I'm saying. He keeps saying I broke the contract and he's demanding I pay a fine. Please hurry, Irene. The print on the contract is tiny and thick, and I can't make sense of it.
I'm on my way. Surely you could make an accommodation? It was your side that changed the delivery address at last minute. Why should the driver pay a penalty?
Commissioner, all orders are logged in our system and adjustments are made according to the published schedule. Drivers bear responsibility for any shift changes they make themselves.
But
contract makes it quite clear. Exceptions compromise our ability to enforce our contracts in the future. Continuing this argument does neither of us any good. The driver doesn't leave now based on road conditions and the published schedule. You may be held in substantive breach of contract, resulting in a fine equal to 15% of the order. It will also be your 7th penalty of the month. Therefore, the windows for any subsequent orders will be tightened accordingly.
Does Kazimesh have multiple industries trying to get into Nuovo Valsini?
Irene cannot recall what she saw in the forced smile that Gianni offered her. Was it regret or an apology? Gianni departed promptly upon hearing the foreign businessman's kind words before Irene could intervene, muttering a few words of self-encouragement to himself. I can't just let it go like this, thought Irene. Kazimeshians are taking advantage of the locals. Back already, Irene. How did things go with Gianni?
Did we keep a copy of the Kazimeshian contracts at the camp? Bring it to me.
What's going on?
The terms. Something's not right. There are certain parts that don't seem reasonable. We need to talk it over with our people.
Johnny's trouble hasn't been resolved, has it?
No. But I'll take care of it.
I knew it. Other drivers have tried to talk to the Kazimierzen. Informally, as for their outcome, I think you could guess. We were talking about how to handle Gianni's fines while you were away.
Johnny has had multiple fines. I think they mentioned 7.
His wife just gave birth to twins. The folk at home are not in the best health. Thankfully, to me,
Ruggiero stops in mid-sentence. Irene asks no more. Perhaps she is afraid that she might ask how the mob boss learned about the issues facing Gianni's family, when she herself has only just heard them moments ago. They're still relying on the Belones. She feels like she has spent too long in her office, so long as she can barely recognize her family anymore. Same as it was 2 years ago. Get the contract. I'll be fine. I'll find a way to deal with it. The AST's drivers do not rely on the kindness of strangers, especially those looking to hide their traps. The lighting at the Kazimierzen Chamber of Commerce's reception room is much warmer than the Agenzia per la Sicurezza dei Trasporti's office, the thick rug thoroughly muffling the sound of any footsteps. The TGCC have an office. The water and documents on the table are placed such that one cannot tell if this is the table of a formal negotiation or simply a courtesy discussion. The Kazimierzen representative arrives a little earlier than appointed and is looking at the documents when Irene arrives. He sets the papers down and stands to greet her. Irene sits without engaging in small talk. I wish to make certain adjustments to the cooperation between the Agenzia per la Sicurezza dei Trasporti and the Kazimierzen Chamber of Commerce. The drivers are not machines. They are doing their best to cooperate, and while it is true that they sometimes be held responsible for breaches of contract, many more are attributable to a disconnect between contract terms and reality. Too many of these terms are unreasonable. Irene takes out a stack of contracts and pushes them forward. The edges are frayed from excessive flipping, and the pages are heavily labeled. On their own, the individual terms may not seem unreasonable. Taken together, however, they serve to put all the pressure on the lowest rung of the ladder. The Kazimierzen representative flips through the contract, reading it carefully, staying on one page for minutes, seemingly to confirm the detailed wording. After some time, he finally puts it away. I understand your concerns. Indeed, we have also noted the recent freight disruptions. However, the terms of the contract are clear. You had the opportunity to review them before you signed it. Yes, because none of us realized that they would be relevant at the same time so often. Rules themselves are not contradictory. It is just the current operating conditions are tighter than expected. What is your request then, Commissioner? I would like more flexibility when dealing with edge cases, at least for the time being. Some space for implementation, if nothing else. I think it would be conducive to better cooperation in the future. The Kazimierzen representative is silent for a moment. Irene has a feeling the silence is not a hesitation, but an assessment of whether the statement calls for the dignity of a response. A fleeting feeling, nothing more. Marking every single little adjustment would be a considerable burden on management moving forward. However, we could, shall we say, set the records aside for the time being. What do you mean, set aside? They will not be referenced at the current stage, at least not until the scheduling cycle is over. What about the penalty records of individual drivers? They will not be scrutinized individually at this current stage. You may focus your time and energy on ensuring smooth overall operation. Small problems will not be examined so closely when the big picture is secure. We too
would prefer that our partners are able to work without pressure. We recognize, of course, the recent circumstances are exceptional. We appreciate your contributions in dealing with the increased workload associated with the upcoming Red Wine Championship. Yes, the AST has committed virtually all of our capacity to the Red Wine Championship's orders. I appreciate our Kazimierz partners' understanding of our driver's circumstances. For better cooperation in the future, yes. I will adjust our schedules and review the conditions of our drivers. I recognize that doing business with you has been very beneficial to our members. Irene stands up and shakes hands with her counterpart. The hand held in hers is firm, without applying excessive force. The expression on the man's face remains polite, exactly as it was when Irene entered the room. We will review the next steps once we have settled down a bit. Irene nods. Irene feels a slight spring in her step as she leaves the room, carrying the contract. She did not cede ground. The feeling helps ease the anxiety that she felt before she came, but also causes a pang of regret. If only she had come sooner to advocate for the drivers. If only she had checked the contract more carefully. Though everything is resolved now, at least, there is room to negotiate. Irene spends the next day tallying the violations on all the drivers, the Agenzia per la Sicurezza dei Trasporti's available budget, even her own savings. Later, she goes back to the camp to tell the others not to worry about the fines. Everything is getting better, just like the sunny weather that has graced Nuovo Volsini recently, thinks Irene. Brother, that's the point of a union! Did they forget that they're in a transporters union? That together, they bargain, divided they beg? Well, divided they go to the mafia and ask for help. Sam is already feeling better by the time he leaves the pharmacy. In terms of his wallet at least, he has been off for 3 days. His fever has subsided and he feels ready to go back to work. Can't have the others subbing in for me all the time. I should figure out my schedule tomorrow, then hit the ground running. Who's calling at this hour? Hello? Oh, Tommaso, from Saluzzo Vino. Thanks for the flu and fever pills you gave me the other day. They worked great. I was just looking for them in the pharmacy to keep them on hand for the next time I get a fever. Aw, he even got his meds from Saluzzo Vino. Dimitri is making too many connections. Oh, you're too kind. You said the order wasn't urgent, but I didn't want to hold your business any longer, so I took it upon myself to deliver it. I didn't expect to see medicine boxes in with the pay. You weren't there when I picked it up, but I guess it was you who put the meds in there. You Saluzzos are too kind. Sam. Sorry. Belones, of course. You Belones are too kind. So, what do you need from me at a time like this? Your boss forgot to add a few crates to the delivery, and no one's available. And you need it for tomorrow's Red Wine Championship. He's gonna deliver the poison. Well, we can't have that. I'm just a block away from your winery. I'll get it. Should only take a few minutes on my bike. Don't worry about the fee. Neighbors help each other out, after all. You insist? Alright. Have it your way. But we can talk about it after I deliver the wine. Brother, he's not your neighbor. He's the new dawn of the Belones. Guess even the big companies slip up every once in a while. Good thing Tommaso found me. How did he get my number anyway? Did I ever tell him? Never mind. That's not important. What is important is that Nuovo Volsini's wine wins the Red Wine Championship. Do the Kazimierz make good wine? Couldn't possibly be as good as the Syracusan stuff at any rate. 2 more stops till I get to the venue. Where did that truck come from? Ugh. The driver scared the shit out of me, the way he swerved.
Good thing the wine's okay. Must have dozed off and missed the red light, I guess. Yikes. The whole truck's flipped over. I hope the driver's okay. I should call the police. Johnny! Is that you? Somebody, help! My fratello's hurt! Hey, you! Tommaso! You're here too! Help me get him out from under the wreck. I'll call an ambulance. Hello? There's been a crash. The driver's out cold. I need an ambulance right now. So, Tommaso told me their boss will pay for Gianni's medical bills and truckload of wine. Said Gianni might not have crashed if they didn't ask me to make the delivery, and the Kazimeshan stuff wouldn't have spilled.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And then what? Nothing. That's all Tommaso told me. It's just an act of kindness, Irene. Tommaso says the owner of Saluzafino is very troubled about Gianni. That he never expected such a terrible accident. Besides, Gianni's in the hospital, and he needs money. You were at the Kazimierzen's place for a while. What were they saying? Do we need to pay compensation for the goods, or is it Saluzavino's responsibility?
Ah, fuck, great. They were delivering Golden Prairie's wine. Meanwhile, Sam was delivering Saluzavino's wine. And now they're trying to blame each other with the truckers caught in the middle. The Kazimierzen said that they can write off the goods. Irene stops mid-sentence. She feels a lump in her throat. Her gaze falls upon the truck sitting at the edge of the cab. It has not been repaired yet, and the broken glass inside the truck gleams in the sunlight. The way they put it, they agree to not pursue individual liability for the incident. It takes a few moments for Sam to process the weight of the message, whereupon he visibly lets out a sigh of relief.
What about Gianni?
No personal restitution. It'll be treated as a failed contract. They'll write it off as a loss of goods. Nice words they used, sharing risks and treating partners fairly.
That's great. Honestly, I don't think Gianni could handle paying restitution. He's got way too much on his plate already. He's been taking so many jobs lately. The fatigue must have gotten to him.
Anyway, tell the friend who asked you to run the errand that we don't need their help. The ASC's insurance will pay part of Gianni's medical bills, and I'll deal with the rest.
Sure, alright. The boys have been talking about chipping in for the bills anyway. I'll do my part too. Oh, Tommaso, right? I'll give him a call right now.
Oh, come on.
I doubt the Kazimierzyns will let it go so easily. You told us about their nice words, what about the not so nice ones?
They made it very clear that this was an exception that they only agreed to based on our current partnership.
What do you mean?
It means they want us to be more proactive in working with within their system, such as future schedules, routes, and other things that we used to decide on our own. As for penalty records, they said they'll assess them in aggregate, bunch of officialese, for internal reference only, no direct fines.
That's what they said before too.
Formal renegotiations with the Kazimierzyns regarding the specifics will take place after the Red Wine Championship. We won't let them put unreasonable terms into the contract this time. Anyway, that's all about the truckload of wine. Don't ask questions and don't think too much about it. It's all in the past now.
Irene.
I know what you're trying to say. I don't need it. We don't need it. It's all done. Don't worry. I'll find a way. Things will get better for the drivers of the AST. For the truckers union. Where's Crown Slayer when we need her? She's all the way in Russia. For a long time afterwards, What Irene recalls most vividly about those two negotiations is not anything that her counterparts said, but the strange confidence that she had. She believed that things would solve themselves if they were to put out in the open, as long as rules and boundaries were upheld, even without having to rely on those forces that she was loath to involve. We are an honest truckers union. We don't need to ask the Belones for help. That's the point of Novo Volsini. Not now, I don't have time for you. Irene impatiently waves away the Lupo delivery man behind her and turns to face the smartly dressed Quaranta. She is anxious yet helpless, unsure what to do with her raised hand. But we couldn't possibly pay such an amount. And what do you mean you'll end our partnership if we don't accept? Didn't we say the other day? Our agreement that day was based on the circumstances before that day. Our demands today are based on the changes that will occur after today. His tone was calm, impassive, as though he was simply stating an indisputable fact, was kind enough to explain it again for Irene's sake. Will not intervene with the assignment of responsibility for the traffic accident, nor do we intend to influence the judgment of the relevant authorities. But the destruction of the goods is the outcome. Nothing can change that. Not to mention the poisoning. Okay, post red wine murder. What do they have to do with the murder? As fate would have it, it was supposed to be our wine that the conductor in question last sampled, yet Alupo claims that he asked someone to deliver it. The vehicle that delivered the samples under suspicion happened to be the one that caused the accident involving the truck delivering our wine. It was Saluzavino. Wait, no. Yeah, it was Saluzavino. Sam was delivering it. The AST's drivers have nothing to do with the poisoning. Of course, I fully believe that. At least, I do from a traffic perspective. Traffic perspective? Regardless of whether the rider violated traffic laws, his actions objectively impacted the non-delivery of our goods. He created a high-risk environment at a critical juncture, the result of which was that the contract was not fulfilled according to the agreement. So you're going after someone who did not commit any actual violations? Going after is such a strong phrase. I said nothing of the sort. We are simply assessing the associated liabilities in accordance with the law. The Quaranta pauses, then continues. The portions of damages that insurance does not cover must of course be borne by the liable parties. Business is business, Commissioner Irene. I beg your understanding. Business? This is highway robbery! We regret that you see it as such. I assure you our company is most disappointed in this turn of events. Meanwhile, we invite any interested drivers to pick up a pamphlet in hopes of future cooperation. We continue to welcome rational choices. The Kazimeshians are really pissing me off.
Wait, Irene, say something. There's no way I can deal with what's on this piece of paper myself. I guess I'll have to go too.
No!
Then what do you suggest I do? If you didn't sign that partnership agreement with these foreigners, that crash would never have happened, and Gianni wouldn't be lying in a hospital bed right now. I know you just want to help us make money, but those Kazimeshians are going to sue me. I've never even seen that much money in my entire life. How am I supposed to pay it? You said that regulations would protect the truckers' union. No, the AST's drivers once we were part of the municipal system. I shouldn't have to deal with this on my own right.
I know. I'll find a way.
Well, either you do that or I go talk to that Belone associate behind you.
Irene reflexively opens her mouth to say no, as she had done so many times whenever this subject is broached, but no words come out. She sees a few drivers standing around the Quaranta in the distance, the same typical smile plastered over his face as always. Man stands there, patiently holding a pamphlet, sometimes nodding and sometimes replying softly, looking more like a counselor listening to someone's troubles than a salesman trying to advertise something. Drivers listen to the Quaranta's explanations with perplexed expressions on their faces, while casting subtle searching glances at Eiri. Don't worry. I'll find a way. I will. It has been a long time since Irene last drove a truck to work. It has been a long time since she drove a truck on the new city's roads. Parking spaces are always at a premium at the city hall, where the Agenzia per Sicurezza dei Trasporti's offices are located. To think it's been 2 years since the Carnevale. Visitors from local businesses, guests from foreign trade associations, drivers of the AST, colleagues from other departments, vehicles of all shapes and sizes come and go. There's no space for a truck. In the afternoon, where Irene is driving her truck out of the camp, she overhears the other drivers discussing the pamphlets that Kazimeshian representative brought, some with excitement, others with suspicion. They talk about the number of fines this quarter, the profits of each job, and their children potentially getting to work for a winery, a pharmacy, or a vehicle factory. The pamphlets paint a picturesque future, not so different from what she saw when she chose the foreigners in order to reject the family. But she knows that they also represent other things. The Kazimeshians are gonna exploit them! They're luring them in with fancy contracts to work abroad. But we have to grow Nuovo Vocini from within. Irene continues to drive for a long time as the colors of the dusk fill the sky. She dials a certain number on her terminal. Lavinia, it's me, Aideen. I'm coming over to the courthouse right now. I'll need to talk to you. It's important. We're finally asking Lavinia for help. Okay. Ooh. The daughter of the conductor? Unheard Sound. And also, our new 5-star operator, Repressa. What wonderful lighting. It complements your emerald eyes. Oh, how lucky I am to have a girl with such beautiful eyes. You talk like I'm the one about to go on stage, Paula. But yeah, you sure are lucky to have a daughter who could handle both performance and paperwork so words are hard. Brilliantly. Yes. So, my good daughter, I trust you'll handle tomorrow's meeting with the new shopping mall at the corner. I have some new pieces brewing in my mind. I'd like to put them in paper after the Red Wine Championship. Of course, Paula. Leave it to me. You should head to stage right now. Your performance is about to begin. Everyone will know of our Schwarzeverhang Orchestra. After today's performance, I'm sure you'll be busy. Stage lights peek through the gap between the backstage curtains, outlining the captain's horns as she raises her baton. Oh yeah, that was a mysterious figure. It was a Caprine. Someone who we have not seen before. Who could it be? She saw only a silhouette. Under the slanted cellar lamps, the reflections of the drinking glass faded and reappeared as the figure moved. Lizelle wanted to approach the figure, perhaps they were lost and in need of directions. but she only took one step before the other turned in response and quickly moved past the shelves. As the two brushed shoulders, the light revealed towering horns atop the black hood. Horns? A Capitaine's horns? I'm sorry. And then. Blinding stage lights shine down on the floor where Paula fell, the spilled wine pooling glaringly like fresh blood. Her mother's lips, which were smiling and praising her, are now dyed a shade of ominous wine red. Bright lights cause Liesel's vision to blur, yet Paula's lifeless eyes fail to capture any of it. Paula? Mama! Wait, is she not dead? She survived? Liesel. Or not. Huh? Oh, great. What's going on? Oh, what? I don't trust this man's. I was just saying, we'll handle the partnership and payment according to the contract. I'm sure you understand.
Sorry. I was distracted.
No worries. I understand you're trying to keep the orchestra together after such a huge blow. It must be difficult. Again, I am sorry for what happened to Frau Paula. This city has lost a beautiful, talented artist. I myself am grieving the tremendous loss. I can't imagine how her adopted daughter must feel.
I appreciate your sympathy.
I hope you bounce back quickly. I've prepared some condolence gifts for your group. You could share them later.
You shouldn't have. We are honored to be simply working with you. So, about the performance fee.
Don't worry about it. We won't claw back the deposit. But as I was about to say, we have decided to not continue our cooperation. I hope your group can find solace and weather this difficult time.
Oh, wait. You're not renewing the contract?
Yes. Without a dazzling pearl like Frau Paula, your orchestra has lost its backbone. I fear the standard of your performances will not return to its original level anytime soon. After all, we are a business, not a charity. Sorry. Was that too blunt of me?
Then what about our performances scheduled for the next 2 days?
Cancelled, of course. The original plan was to let our guests enjoy your music accompanying their wine tasting. But now City Hall has closed their theater for investigation of this incident, so there's no way to continue our cooperation. I am suffering at a terrible loss too, you know.
Then what about the fees from the previous performances? Our Red Wine Championship warm-up performance was perfectly fine. Popular even.
Our contract clearly states, in the event that force major leads to the termination of or cancellation of a performance, the client is not obliged to pay the corresponding fee. In other words, we pay the balance only after all the performances have been properly performed.
What? They don't get paid at all because the entire performance set wasn't done?
Perhaps your grief caused you to forget this clause?
No, that is not.
No one wanted this to happen. It's a terrible loss for us as well, so I hope you and your orchestra can empathize.
Shut the fuck up. I needed you dead yesterday, bro! The wine was meant for you!
If there's anything else I could help with, just let us know and we'll try our best to assist.
Pay their contract, bozo! I understand. If you ever need our services in the future, just let me know.
Of course, of course. But I must ask, will your group be alright? Performing without Frau Paula? Giselle, you're finally back.
Timpani pulls Lizelle onto the sofa in the middle of the rehearsal room, then sits down next to her, awkwardly patting her shoulder. His back is straight, but his bloodshot eyes betray his effort to remain chipper.
Man, that Zadek's a stubborn one. Didn't think he'd insist on discussing the contract with you just because your mother's signature was on it. We already told him to come to us. You just suffered a tragic loss. How could he talk business with you right now? Right. He has no clue how close you two were. You know, we can tell at a glance how long you spent sobbing last night.
Just stay put, Lizelle. Enough worrying about the past 2 days. Let us old-timers handle the rest. Just look at your hands. All wrinkly and callous from doing the cleaning and chores all by yourself, just to save money. Huh? No, I'm fine. Actually, I'd rather you all not worry yourselves about this. Just concentrate on the rehearsal.
Right. So, what did he say about our future performances? Same as usual, or are we doing something new?
But Paula didn't finish her new piece. About that. Our future performances are all cancelled. Zarek also says we only get the balance payment after all the performances are done. But now...
What? That verdammt Kazimeshan Schickster!
Hey, Timpani!
Trombone stops Timpani from continuing his onslaught of expletives with a tiny pinch, and gestures with her eyes for him to show some consideration to the girl on the sofa.
Sorry, Lizelle. I wasn't mad at you. Don't worry. Damn that Zarek bullying a girl! Has he no heart? The Red Wine Championship ended just a while ago. You haven't even had a chance to recover and he lays this on you.
Lizelle, you should go to bed. You haven't had a wink of sleep since yesterday. I left a cup of hot sisty milk in your room, so have some, alright? Oh no, it might be cold by now. Why don't I go warm it up for you?
Lizelle opens her mouth to answer, but nothing comes out as she notices everyone's red eyes and tired expressions. She manages nothing and ultimately shakes her head weakly, refusing Trombone's offer as she gets up to leave. In the hallway outside the room, she leans against the wall, listening to the vague murmurs from inside.
What do we do now? Paula's gone, and so is our performance fee. We were counting on this championship to get our name out there and secure new gigs, but now it's going to be nearly impossible.
We need cash to rent our rehearsal space, for instrument maintenance, and food isn't free either. Paula didn't have much saved. She shared whatever she had with us.
Let's pool what we have. I think we can manage another 10 or 15 days or so. Who will conduct us now that Paula's gone? How are we going to perform without her?
How did she even? That Belone Lupo. Why did he hurt our Paula? It just makes no sense. What does his mafia have to do with us?
Maybe they thought she was in someone's way. Or did we break one of her rules by taking gigs there? Who knows? The Syracusan gangsters are a ruthless bunch.
The City Hall says investigations are ongoing, but who knows if they'll actually go anywhere.
What can we even hope for? This city is still Syracuse after all. I think they're just pretending to exercise the law.
Hold up. We've been putting the blame onto the Belones this entire time. What if it's just been a red herring? What if Zarek was the one who both set up the competition and planned to murder someone? Hold up, wait a minute, it all makes sense now. Hold up, wait a minute. But wait, no. He was originally planning to use the competition to rig Golden Prairie to win. But then, Dimitri got in his way, switched the wines, and Saluzovino won instead. Why would he sabotage his own competition when he was gonna rig it in the first place? Just to not pay the orchestra? Or did he not plan to rig it? Did he not plan to rig it at all?
What can we even hope for? This city is still Syracuse after all. I think they're just pretending to exercise the law. Personally, I think we should never forget what the Belones did to Paula.
No, it's definitely Zarek in some way.
If I ever see one of their mobsters, my fist is going straight in their jaw.
Don't be rash. If they could murder Paula just like that, I'm sure they could end our lives just as easily. We all come from Lithanian. Could it be they're after Lithanians?
Surely not.
If that's not it, I don't know how else to explain it. Why would they go after a woman as great as Paula?
I've had enough of Syracuse and Mafia. Why don't we just leave for Victoria or somewhere even further? How's Columbia sound? We might have to quit playing, but we can do odd jobs or whatever to feed ourselves. Just like we did before we met Paula.
We should take Lizelle with us.
Of course. Even if I only earn enough for a bowl of macaroni, you bet half of it is going to the girl. She will not starve on my watch.
Lizelle does not manage to make out what the rest say in response, nor does she have the will to listen further. She only feels her head spinning, her eyes stinging, her entire body heavy like lead. She only wants to fall into Paula's embrace. Lizelle does not return to her bed, instead opens the door to Paula's room. Paula forgot to shut the window tight on the day of the championship, and the rain from last night had soaked the nearby stack of music sheets. Even a day later, the paper remains wrinkled. You forgot to close the window again, huh? Even though I'd remind her every night. Honestly, everything might as well be dust once she dove into her music. Paula. The tears she tried her best to hold back for the sake of the meeting with the Kazimierz businessman and the orchestra now burst forth once more. Lizelle gathers the sheet by the windows, trying to smooth out the wrinkles on the paper, but even her fingers appear to her as blurry as the notes soaked by rain. She knows how dreadful and silly she must look. If Paula saw her like this, she'd join in the crying too. Paula has been accompanying Lizelle to her parents' graves when they overheard a lady performing a foreign melody nearby, and she cried the same way Lizelle is crying now. The trombone player was startled by the red-eyed Paula, but later became part of the family, just like bassoon, even timpani. Paula had been standing at the pier when she discovered timpani driving piles into the ground with a steel drill. He had a good sense of rhythm, she said, so why not join my orchestra as a timpani player? Lizelle asked Paula before why someone as talented as her would leave Lithania. Paula only tilted her head in response then. She didn't fully understand herself. Why didn't her countrymen understand that she only wanted to perform the pieces that she liked? Why couldn't they accept even that? These scores were her favorite. The paint on this metronome's flaking off. She must have brought it from Lithanian. Also, this earring was all the way in the back of this drawer. Paula was so sad when she thought she lost it. This costume has been altered so many times, and it's still not finished. She said she'd wear it for the performance in 2 days. Lizelle gently picks up the crimson dress, her fingers tracing the gold thread on the neckline. The fabric is somewhat old with dye fading at its fraying edges, but the elaborate embroidery work is as brilliant as ever. Next to the dress hanger is the staff, standing in silence. Her staff. You had so much to teach me about arts. So why?
Why did someone do that to you?
My theory is that Zarek did it to get out of paying them the contract, but I still don't get why he would sabotage his own rigged event. The streetlights outside the window flicker to life, and passing headlights flash in and out of her vision, blurred by her overflowing tears. Light, a flash of light. The flash of light reflected off a drinking glass. Giselle's fingers freeze. A blurry fragment surges forth from her memories like ice on a lake suddenly cracking from all the suppressed water. Hold up, what if neither Belone or Zarek had anything to do with it? There was a third party at the murder scene. It was the Caprine with long horns. Maybe she has some history with Lithanian. The slender hooded figure, half hidden behind a shelf, the spotlight shining down, illuminating the glass in his hand. Towering horns under the light.
That's the man I thought was lost in the cellar. But he's a Caprine? That's no Belone, and no Lupo either. There's no way. What's going on? Like Trombone says, we have nothing to do with the Mafia. Could it be Belone really has nothing to do with this? Or maybe he's not the murderer? But then why? Why a Caprine?
Giselle looks up, her gaze fixed on a photo on the headboard of Paula's bed. A formal group photo of the Schwarzerhang Orchestra after a performance. Other than a few Elafia, the other members, numbering a dozen or so, are all Caprine. Once she joked to Paula, asking if she intended to recruit every Lithanian to Syracuse into a group, and Paula laughed, saying it would be wonderful.
What if that person was no stranger, but one of our players in disguise? No way. How could I suspect one of our own? But I have to find the killer. I have to know who killed Paula. Paula, when you were teaching me arts, you said telling the truth can sometimes hurt, but it's like a flame, warm and powerful. You always told me never to lie, but to do the right thing. But what if doing it would scorch our family?
Giselle bites her lip, trying to stop herself from voicing her thoughts, but they only remain stuck in her head. The exhaustion, shocks, pain, and fear from the past few days have squeezed her into a tiny ball, primed to blow. Her tears no longer flow, she only feels cold. Well, you're a Caprine, Timpani.
Just a few more days until the murderer's been sentenced, and we'll bring Lizelle with us and leave this place. What's wrong? You see that luxury hotel over there? Bah, the lone business is wherever we go. Huh? I mean the priciest place. The one that's impossible to book is theirs too. Ah, they sure are raking in the cash. Rich men like them probably can buy themselves an acquittal, right? Got to do every verdamn thing myself. Just you wait. I'll stab him a couple of times someday. Enough. Did you forget what Trombone said? Besides, with that lame leg of yours, the cops would catch you right after you get your first stab in. Then you'd break Lizelle's heart again. Right. Can't let her suffer anymore. And I still can't just let it be. Fine. Why don't you go outside and spit on the ground? Let's go. Oh, no. That won't blow enough steam. I need to get in a good punch or two. You're the most stubborn man in the orchestra. Fine, I'll come along.
What? Timpani and Bassoon have been detained? For getting into a conflict on a belonged property? No, I'm not Paula. No, nothing. Yes, I'm Lizelle Meminger. The phone number is correct. Alright, I'll come at once.
She has barely managed to drift off when a shrill ringtone interrupts her sleep. Lizelle cannot decide if the caller's description of what happened or resulting scene taking shape in her imagination is more devastating. Her heart pounds violently as she puts on a coat before heading outside. Perhaps because it is late at night, or maybe because a murder just happened, she fails to find a cab for hire. In a moment of desperation, she starts sprinting towards the nearest police station. The night wind whispers to her like background noise leaking from an old stage. Lizelle runs as fast as she can, even though her foggy thoughts only got noisier the more she tries to calm herself down.
Did he actually go looking for Belone Associates? Did someone make a move? Did they do something for me? For Paula?
The wind stings her eyes, but she runs even faster, her balance nearly slipping. Personally, I think we should never forget what the Belones did to Paula.
No, there's no way.
If I ever see one of their mobsters, my fist is going straight in their jaw.
Timpani, Bassoon. No, they wouldn't do such things.
Lizelle gasps for her breath like a bellow is about to burst as the night wind slips into her arms, sending her into shivers. She notices a few passers-by ahead, looking at her as if they have spotted a lunatic. She does not care. All she thinks is to go faster. Faster. But the closer she gets to the police station, the more the grayish-white building seems to slowly press down on her like a huge, unfeeling curtain. Stage curtain. Lizelle slows down. She stands on the street corner and spots an officer smoking outside the gate in front of the lit-up station entrance. For a second, she seems to want to turn and run.
Did they do this thinking they had no other choice because I'm so useless? What if they actually did something? What if one of them is the real culprit? What if I find the truth and it's an answer the orchestra or I can't bear to hear?
She hates herself for doubting them. She hates how her first reaction upon hearing Familia Belone and detained was not to defend them, but to freeze as she recalled those towering horns.
But what should I do? Paula.
Daughter of mine, our orchestra wouldn't be what it is today without you. I'm so thankful. Yes, I'll always be with you. The rest of the orchestra needs you too. Lizelle, my girl, my pride and joy. Someday you will stand on stage in my stead. No, not just for me. It has never been for me. One day you will become the best conductor in Nova Vocini, no, all of Syracuse. The wind seems to have stopped. Lizelle slowly but surely drags her feet into the building. The Belone mobsters. Are they being held in the same cell?
So, you're saying Timpani didn't hit you and...
What? Why are they here?
Struck these two Colombian businessmen instead?
What? That's right. Well, I got hit too, actually. But hey, old man, you got a bum leg, but your arms pack a punch. Damn straight.
I'm a first-rate percussionist. You bet I'm good at hitting things. If only that Colombian fat ass didn't trip and eat your second jab, huh? So here's the situation. Got the call about 4 troublemakers on the street, and then it turned out into a fight between 6. After some questioning, we determined these 2 Colombian gentlemen in the below Alder Hall Hotel were fighting with mafioso. With the hotel staff. The staff had asked the Colombian men to step outside, but once they were on the street, the businessmen suddenly became violent. Meanwhile, these 2 members of the the orchestra tried to mediate the fight, but ended up involving themselves in the scuffle. Yep, it's all that fatso's fault. He's drunk and was harassing a receptionist. Harassing? Not at all. I was just paying my guest in the hotel when suddenly I took a hit. Mark my words, I'm not done with you yet. Huh? Haven't had enough. You were the ones who stumbled into this lobby drunk, yelling, "Why should I line up? Get me the biggest, most mafia-style room." Mafia style? What were you getting at, throwing words like that around a legitimate business establishment? You scared off the guests who were trying to check in. You're acting like that's no big deal. Exactly. Even from the entrance, we clearly saw how you scared the receptionist to tears. Hey, zip it. Bassoon pinches Timpani hard, who yells and looks up to see Lizel's ashen expression. Sorry, Lizel. You shouldn't have been called out at this hour. All of us have you listed as our emergency contract. Paula told us to, so... it's my fault. I should have stopped him. Lizel, say something. Your silence is scaring me.
So the 2 of you helped someone who didn't need your help in the first place?
Well, that seems to be the case, yeah.
Lizel is rendered speechless as she looks at both pairs of below mobsters and Colombian businessmen. Maybe we could cross them off our suspicion list, but what about the woman? We've kinda cleared our conscience with them, but what about the other woman? In the middle, Timpani and Bassoon are huddling in fear like foul beasts caught in the rain, their pitiful gazes aimed at Lizel. When was it? When was the last time I saw something so absurd? At the pier, faced with Paolo's invitation, Timpani shook his head in confusion and ignored the 2 to resume his hammering. With his rhythmic hammering in the background, Lizel saw Paula suddenly straighten herself in her collar. Foreman, sir, I'd like to resign on this gentleman's behalf. From today onwards, he will no longer be able to hammer for you, for he shall join me in exploring the beautiful possibilities in the world of music. Now then, arrivederci, my good foreman.
Huh? No, wait. What? Resign. Goodbye. Who said he could go?
What? He can't?
Oh, of course not. It's day labor. He's not even done yet, and you want him to take him away. It'll slow us down.
Oh, I see. Is this enough then? Go find another master artisan like Timpani here, and you won't fall behind schedule. But the foreman was clearly shocked by Paolo's actions. Her words stunned Timpani. Behind Paolo was Lizel, tugging on her mother's sleeve with an expression both amused and annoyed. Paula, that's supposed to feed us for a whole week. Huh? Really? Everyone stayed awkwardly still for a moment before the foreman quickly grabbed the florin from her as if afraid she'd change her mind.
Hey, you over there. Go find another worker for me.
Foreman turned to yell and left the trio, depriving Timpani for a chance to respond. She just bought him.
Huh?
I'm sorry, Lizel. Maybe you should manage the money from now on. And now, we 3 will busk on the street. I'm sure we could earn back enough for tonight's dinner. The fiery sunset clouds from the day. The fiery sunset clouds from that day come back to life inside Lizel's mind. The dumbfounded Timpani, the satisfied and smiling Paula, and her resigned self-shaking her head were all bathed in a warm sunset glow, the shade of a beautiful future.
Wow, our whole family is so silly. Paula, timpani, bassoon, trombone, everyone, and even me. I'm the biggest fool of us all. How could I have suspected my own family? There's no way anyone would do anything like that.
It's alright, Lizel. I did what I did, and I'll pay the price. So don't worry your little head about this. It's just a few days behind bars, probably. I'm used to skipping meals.
I'm pretty sure they're required to feed prisoners, otherwise that's a violation.
Can you start the beat, timpani? Any rhythm is fine, just one you like.
What? Timpani's bold declaration to pay the price for his actions is interrupted by Lizel's sudden request. He exchanges a glance with Bassoon and even meets eyes with the Balone mobsters and Colombian businessmen. But the undeniable authority in her voice sends Timpani's hand involuntarily tapping on the metal bar. With his rhythmic tapping in the background, Lizel straightens her back as well as her collar, looking towards the Colombian businessman.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Lizel, the leader of the orchestra. We are the finest orchestra in all of Nuovo Volsini, which I'm sure you can tell from the excellent live performance by my timpani player, yes? I should also mention we have a wonderful bassoon player in our midst, but I regret we do not have the equipment to offer a demonstration right now. Alright, now that the introductions are out of the way, firstly, I would like to express my sincerest apologies for today's incident. I cannot make decisions on their behalf, but I will take responsibility for my group. It is an undeniable fact that one of my men hit you, and I am deeply sorry for it. You are a businessman from faraway Colombia, yes? The high-end Piazza Parasota you've invested in is about to open in the city. I think you chose this city for a good reason. Its potential, order, and future cultural atmosphere. Now, I'm not trying to excuse this unfortunate misunderstanding between your party and mine, but I'd like to offer something valuable in exchange for your forgiveness. A performance. We, the orchestra, will provide a free and exclusive performance to the Piazza Parasota's opening ceremony.
Exclusive, you say?
Yes, give us a time and we'll be there, performing a complete lineup of classical pieces of theater-grade quality, lighting and stage control included. The conductor will be me, daughter of Paula Memminger. I will not fall short of her standards, for she personally trained me, and I am her pride. Even if you are not satisfied with our performance, you will gain some buzz from the public either way, and won't take a loss, even if you decide not to hire us again. But if you find us valuable, then I imagine you'd love to make the Piazza Parasota the very first high-end shopping mall with a resident orchestra.
Oh! Resident orchestra! She's planning for a permanent gig.
Of course, all of this is to make one thing clear. This city only has a single orchestra worth investing in, and that's us.
You know, boss, this sounds pretty good. It does seem like a good deal. Hold up. How about figuring out who was actually in the wrong? Well, this young lady has certainly taken the blame, so what else is there to discuss? It's not like we meant to cause a ruckus.
What do you gentlemen think?
Alright. You'll arrange everything that needs arranging. We'll have your orchestra at the opening. However, we are a high-end mall after all. I do hope you won't disappoint.
Of course.
Next to Colombian businessmen, Timpani and Bassoon are still as statues. Only when the police officer waves them away do they both mutter something as if just jolted awake.
Lizel, you were the spitting image of Paula back there. No, even more. How do I put it? More Paula than Paula even was.
I'm my mama's daughter after all. I'm Liesel Memminger of the orchestra.
In the dressing room backstage, Liesel is seated, surrounded by the joyful sound of her orchestra chatting. Next to her is a stack of slightly yellowed scores, Paula's untitled quartet, with some edits noted in the corners. Meanwhile, Paula's favorite composition has just won a standing ovation from the entire audience on the Colombian's magnificent stage. Liesel runs her hand over the slightly faded ink, then stands up to face the orchestra. How many are there in this orchestra? 5 of them? 4 of them, including Liesel? I know these past few days have been difficult and stupid, but we held our concert, and we'll hold many more. By Paula's will, in the name of the orchestra. So there is something I must tell you. On the day of the incident, I saw Paula's murderer. I'll find him somehow, and the law will punish him. He wasn't a lupo, so probably not a Belon. It was a Caprine I saw. Okay, so we're crossing out the orchestra members, supposedly. But maybe Paula had some history with her previous orchestra in Lithuania. Ordine Nuovo. Let's see how Dimitri's doing. Grazie, infinite. Senor Belon. Who is this? I would have been at such a loss had it not been for you and your familia. Who is this? Come now, Zio Elio. I didn't do anything. Oh, it's Elio. Elio is Bettina's father or grandfather?
Indeed, your name and presence were enough. My landlord dropping by as you were visiting me was enough to make him reconsider collecting his rent on the spot. After you left, he quickly agreed to give me 2 more weeks. That I'll figure out myself. I don't understand, Zio Elio. Why are you? What happened to your fruit stand? Oh, that sold it long ago. My little Emma had a fever this summer, and who would have thought it would leave her paralyzed?
Is it not Bettina's father?
Luckily, Dimitri introduced me to a good doctor. Said it was a serious yet common summer ailment for children, and she might lose her legs if it wasn't treated. So I sold my fruit stand and pulled cash from relatives to pay part of the doctor's fee. The rest of it was paid in installments. She's out of the woods now, at least. She has a slight limp, but she's otherwise healthy. As for the rent and bills, I'll figure it out. Your stand was on the corner. Metri and I bought oranges from you when we were little. We've been neighbors for years. I could have lent you money, and you wouldn't have had to. Now, Senor Belon, it's a vast sum. I wouldn't dare accept such a favor from you. Besides, your money wouldn't keep me afloat forever. I owe rent every week. But now I'm under Familia Belon's protection. My landlord won't kick me out when I fail to pay, and even the bakery will sell me some goods on credit. But you never wanted to join the Familia. You always said that there was no need for civilians to join or involve themselves in family affairs. That the most important thing to do was work hard and live your best life. Ah, this old man was just naive. A Familia is more than fighting and killing. I finally understand that.
Elio, no!
Don't worry, Senor Belon. I may be old, but I know not to be ungrateful. The Belons have helped me, so if you ever need a favor in turn, just call me and I'll be there.
Elio, no!
You did this on purpose, did you? Didn't you, Metri? I asked you the other day why I haven't seen his fruit stand,
And you told me he went home for a relative's funeral. You knew Emma was gravely ill. And when you suddenly invited me here for pizza the other day, you knew Zio Elio would pass by and find me. You handled it expertly, Leon. Handled what? I played right into your hands if I had known sooner. Wouldn't have done anything about it anyway. Wouldn't have possibly known what sort of hardship he would face. Your assistance would have been limited. But at least I could have prevented him from joining the Familia against his wishes. Only the Familia can help him now. Is that so? I beg to differ. What did the facade cost him, and how long will it even last? He should have had access to more opportunities, while we, Siracusa, should guarantee them a livelihood through systemic measures. Relying on the family won't address the root of the problem. I hope the lesson you've learned from this is not charity or consideration for others, Leo. You're the underboss. Someday you'll be the head of the Familia yourself. A competent Don knows offering timely help will earn you gratitude. They will owe you a favor, repay their debt someday. You sound so heartless, Metri. Why did you even bother introducing a doctor to Zio Elio even? Shouldn't you have let me do it? If you wanted me to learn to extract gratitude. You didn't know how ill Emma really was, and you didn't know he would have no choice but to sell his fruit stand. You just wanted to help him, and it had nothing to do with the Familia. We can only do as much as we can, though. Besides, old Elio's oranges were always the best. He clearly knows how to pick his suppliers.
This is a trivial matter compared to your available powers as a mayor. Please bring that murderous mafioso who ruined my red wine championship to justice.
Senor Zarek, Dimitri. Belone's trial is in this afternoon. But for now, he remains only a suspect.
But who else could have it been? He sees me as a competitor and is not above dirty tricks. I kept my wines safely stored in the cellar and even arranged for professional security to guard them, only to somehow have them swapped with Saluzzo's. Professional security meaning the blowjob brothers. The prime suspect was arrested at the party, yet only placed under house arrest. And there have been plenty of people knocking on his door to visit, console, or even plot more nastiness. The whole city thinks him innocent, while Saluzzo is raking in record profits. While I, poor old Radoslaw, have gained absolutely nothing after spending so much time and effort organizing an event here in hopes of doing some business in this thriving new city.
As far as I know, the Red Wine has been publishing articles about this murder case, and this was brought to the attention to your event. Brought a lot of attention to your event. I understand you've already begun recruiting participants for your next Red Wine Championship, and there are even wine merchants from Colombia and Lithuania who have signaled an interest in participating.
Indeed. But I should be enjoying greater gains than just those. Now I'm left trying to minimize my massive losses.
Senor Zarek, we pledged to run the city fairly, according to the new Urban Management Act, but our government will not serve the interest of a lone businessman. Not you, or anyone else.
That's so. I hear you grew up with that Bellone boy, and now he's even taken your family name.
I'm no longer affiliated with Familia Bellone in any way.
But he's a member, no? Part of the purest Syracusan Familia. Even in his businessman costume, he's still the most comfortable doing things mafia style.
Need to present proper evidence before we could hold a formal trial.
Of course, we must follow due process, I'm aware. But my good mayor, I pray you don't forget this. Since the new Urban Management Act, many businessmen from Kazimierz, Lithuania, and Colombia have come here to trade. And we, or at least
The merchants under the KGCC's banner are only here in Nuovo Volsini and not in any other Syracusan city because you have promised us the family do not exist here. The wine merchant leaves, but Leontuzo remains still for a long time. You seem exhausted. Did the wine merchant tie you up in his affairs again? Or is it Dimitri?
He's convinced that we won't have a fair trial, and he keeps bringing up his Chamber of Commerce to pressure me.
Saluzovino has indeed established itself in Nuovo Volsini under Dimitri's management, but it remains a local enterprise. It's hard to judge if it can compare with the commercial capabilities of Zadek's Golden Prairie. I fear Zadek is hounding Dimitri not because they're business competitors, or just for that championship incident.
Metri is merely an opportunity for Zadek and the Chamber of Commerce backing him. Most local merchants here do have ties to the family, big or small. And if this background becomes valid grounds for accusations of wrongdoing, the local industry will come under pressure.
We do need those foreign capitalists to trade here. We have to learn their modern ways of trade. We need their capital and goods.
Even the way they compete with each other is something we need. It'll make our local businesses iterate and evolve to keep up. I'm aware of all of that. Lavinia, our current situation is so far from what we originally envisioned.
Yes, we planned the city without the family, run with fairness and justice, not favoring any particular party. The irony of saying that as we introduce hypercapitalism into Nuovo Volsini. Yeah, man. Because Kazimesh is definitely run with fairness and justice. Definitely. But now Nuovo Volsini has become an open gate to Siracusa, completely defenseless, free from any outsiders to enter, no matter their motives. The first group, I need water. The first group is, of course, the Kazimiesians who exploit the loopholes in the new Management Act. The exclusive shelf display agreement that Zarek and his fellow merchants include in their contracts has severely affected local industry.
Various logistics contracts with high fines have also driven our local truckers into a corner.
Yes, Aideen has informed me of the situation. It seems the KGCC is trying to undermine our AST. Also, other departments have given feedback on how they've been showing signs of wanting to involve themselves in the energy and healthcare sectors as well.
According to last month's reports from City Hall, many businesses in the service industry have shuttered, while the manufacturing industry is also struggling. Foreign-backed companies and shops have set up here, and they prefer to employ those from their own countries, so it is likely the job pool for locals will only shrink. Despite our best efforts, prices are still trending upwards. Our people are not doing so well.
And it is the Kazimesians and Colombians we must face, but also the Lathanians who have come from all across Siracusa, even from their own country, with all manners of motives.
Yes, before them, the fairness and justice we seek remains necessary. I still believe this. But if such a pursuit must be traded for the livelihood of our citizens, then those so-called virtues will only end up being superficial formalities.
You're right.
I've been mulling over it.
Remember when I mentioned that we might have to amend the new Management Act? We've made a revision. Want to look? The Intuzo takes the draft from Lavinia. 2 thin sheets of paper that should take no time to go through, but Leontuzo flips through them multiple times before he finally looks up.
Those tariffs on foreign goods prevent foreign businesses from establishing a monopoly on key sectors like transportation, finance, energy, and allow some factions with former familiar ties access to lower management roles. Issue franchise permits to familiar-controlled corporations. This is not a bit overboard. I fear people may say we're regressing to the old Syracuse way, or that we're favoring the family. I did promise change, but these amendments are difficult to accept.
I understand your concerns, Leon. I know you, of all people, hope to keep the family out of the city.
But you still seek to counter foreign capitalists with family power.
Leon, we all know Nova Volsini's government and authority over the city was granted by Senor Cecilia's pleasure. But in Syracuse as it stands now, the only force capable of uniting everyone is still the family. But what we can do is limit and prevent the family from growing their power, ensure that they do not succumb to infighting, and most importantly, keep them from infringing on civilian interests. It's not an easy decision to make. Truth be told, I think it's not the right time to submit this draft either. Most citizens enjoy the employment opportunities brought in by foreign companies, as well as their cheap and trendy imported goods. Even if the KGCC ways inconvenience them, compared to the trouble caused by the mob wars of the past, they do not think of it as much of a problem.
Silence spreads throughout the office. The Intuzo knows Lavinia is right because he used to harbor such plans in his mind. But it is not so easy to make the decision.
I get what you're trying to say. But just as Zarek and the KGCC won this chance to put Metri on trial, we also need an opportunity to convince ourselves and this entire city.
Yes, this chance may very well come soon.
The courtroom is packed. The afternoon trial has clearly drawn a lot of attention. Sitting in the gallery are not only locals, but also the merchant Zarek's Gazimesh and partners, a Lithuanian orchestra, and even Colombian traders. Courtroom scene presided by Judge Lavinia. All their attention is fixated on one Dimitri Belon in the defendant's dock. Hold up. What if the key evidence is gonna be brought in by Irene? What if she'll find something out?
In accordance with the new Urban Management Act, the Nova Volsini Criminal Court will commence with the trial of the defendant, Dimitri Belon, on charges of the murder of Paula Memminger. Case number 01452, court is now in session. I call Tommaso Esposito to the witness stand. Senor Esposito, is it true that you are the manager for San Luzovino in charge of the company's logistics?
Yes.
2 weeks ago, one day before the Golden Prairie's Red Wine Championship, you called an individual by the name of Sam at the Agenzia per la Sicurezza dei Trasporti. You asked him to deliver 2 bottles of Saluza wine to the event venue.
Yes. I was very busy and completely forgot about sending some wines to the competition, although I fortunately remembered to do so the day before. Suffering from success, as it were.
When this Sam was delivering the goods via motorcycle, he came upon a crashed truck driven by an AST colleague, one Gianni. Gianni was on a Golden Prairie job at the time. Coincidentally, Gianni just happened to be delivering goods specifically prepared for the by the Golden Prairie for the competition finals, and you just happened to be there as well.
The coincidence isn't that unusual. Just goes to show how everyone loves to do things last minute. As for me, I was just making my way over to the event venue to ensure my boss's instructions were being carried out properly, so I tagged along.
At the scene of the accident, you helped Sam and get Gian into an ambulance, and you helped handle the aftermath. Notably, you took those Saluza wines and placed them into the Golden Prairie box meant for the competition.
Wait! Oh! Hold up! So Dimitri didn't swap the wines? It was an accident? He mistook the Saluza wines and put them into the Golden Prairie box? So that would mean... Okay, the Saluza wines were spiked.
Surely, right?
Golden Prairie guys, they said they'd find another driver. So I thought I'd save myself some trouble since we're both delivering goods to the same destination.
Oh, you delivered both the goods. In the same box. But you took the Golden Prairie wines out of their box. And so the wines that appeared to the judges under the Golden Prairie name were in fact from Saluzzo Vino.
That's their own carelessness. They only had to look at the labels on the bottles to avoid the mistake. Am I wrong, Your Honor?
That is true. Which means the Cabernet that we saw switched the labels. No further questions. I call Letizia Maroni to the witness stand. Senora Maroni, you work at the Nuovo Volsini's Police Academy as a toxicology expert and forensic pathologist. You were responsible for the autopsy of the victim, Paula Memminger, as well as the testing of the utensils and wine in the case. Yes. Please inform the court of your findings. Yes, Your Honor. The autopsy results show Paula Memminger died of cyanide poisoning. Traces of cyanide were found on the wine glass that she used, but not inside the Saluzzo wine bottle. What? It wasn't in the Saluzzo bottle? In other words, the murderer applied cyanide only to the glass, rather than the Saluzzo wine itself. Oh. Wait. Didn't Zarek hand over his glass to Paula? I can only say the current evidence supports the conclusion. Calling Lizelle Memminger to the stand. The little Cabernet steps out from the crowd of musicians around her and slowly but resolutely walks towards the witness stand. Signorina Memminger, is it true that you are a member of the orchestra and the adopted daughter of the deceased Paula Memminger? Yes. On the day of the Red Wine Championship, you went to the cellar where all the competition wines were stored for inspection. Yes. While you were there, you brushed past someone who is neither a security guard nor a member of the participating winery. Yes. Did you see what this individual did in the cellar? I saw him picking up a glass, but at the time I only thought it was a random strange occurrence. No problems arose after he entered the cellar, so I assumed he was just a lost spectator. If I had known what he was doing, I would have stopped him, and Paula wouldn't have. Lizelle's voice trembles slightly as her voice lowers gradually. She looks down, hunched over, but ultimately straightens her back. My condolences. Did you get a clear look at his face? I only saw him for a moment. I saw his face but couldn't make it out clearly. Do you think you might recognize him? No. He dressed very plainly. Thinking back, I believe he was maybe trying to trick the security guards, impersonating one of our orchestra members. I don't know who he was, but there is one thing I do know. He was definitely no Pero or Lupo you typically find in Siracusa. He had enormous Cabernet horns. Murmurs rise in the courtroom, like ripples from throwing a stone into water. Lavinia continues her questions, and Lizelle recounts a detail in what her orchestra members were doing at the time, establishing their alibis. But no one cares for her words at this point.
So, Malone didn't do it. I've been thinking it made no sense. He already won the championship after all. What would he get from killing the conductor?
But what if there's something else we don't know? Also, couldn't he have just simply hired a Cabernet to do the deed? Also true.
His men have sabotaged our wineries. He's been obviously after us, disrupting our perfectly legitimate business operations.
Silence. Order in the court. I call Elio Fabri to the stand. Gontuso is shocked to see his old acquaintance in court. He does not know why old Elio would be here. He was not even aware that Elio had come to Nuovo Volsini. Signor Fabri, is it true that you're an employee of Saluzzo Vino and responsible for procuring grapes for the company's production line?
Yes, Your Honor.
3 weeks ago, we reached out to Verdi Winery to discuss procuring raw materials for Saluzzo Vino.
Even though Verdi's winery business has been declining ever since the Kazimieshan winery set up shop, they always have the most aromatic grapes. Our company has long-term cooperative agreement with Verdi to purchase any surplus materials their production lines cannot handle. The discussion was just a part of my regular job.
But during the meeting, he learned that Golden Prairie was about to buy out Verdi Winery.
Yes.
And so you conspired with Nicolo, a Verdi employee, to sabotage the winery's production facilities. Furthermore, you also sabotaged their water supply and drainage systems, causing Golden Prairie to incur substantial maintenance costs after their acquisition.
Yes.
You must be aware that these actions constitute unfair competition and violate the new Urban Management Act. What was your motive? Did the owner of Saluzzo Vino, Dimitri Bilone, compel you to do this? Did he intend to disrupt Golden Prairie's business operations?
Elio does not answer immediately. The Kazimieshan businessman in the gallery is silent, his expressions now relaxed. Meanwhile, Leontuzo fails to make out Dimitri's reaction from his calm demeanor in the defendant's dock.
No one compelled me to do anything, Your Honor. Everything I did was of my own conscience, out of my own concern as a Novo Vosinese, as a Syracusan. It's true Golden Prairie is a competitor of ours, and our rivalry means I know well the methods they use. They dump their goods here for cheap, pressuring local wineries into a small corner of the market, and then acquire them when they turn unsustainable. But they don't run businesses properly after buying them out, much less try to preserve their unique winemaking traditions. They fire all the old staff to increase profit and efficiency, and pretend to operate normally for a while, then shut it all down, leaving the vines to waste away.
Wow! Sounds like the video game industry. Buying up small studios, ringing them for all their worth, and then after they release award-winning games, fire everyone and liquidate the studio? Gee. Sounds exactly like the video game industry.
Verdi's the fourth. Before them, it was Triptych, Pasadi Hills, and Drizzle. All of those wineries suffered the same treatment. That's how Kazimiesh works. They don't care about the effort we put into tending our grapes, nor for our lives and the memories carried by the unique astringency in our traditional wines. All they want is to clear out their weaker competitions, one by one, until they monopolize all the shelves of every store. And will ultimately lose any choice in the products that we buy. When that happens, I doubt their prices will stay as low as they are now.
Well said, but that does not justify your use of illegal means.
I know. I know what I've done won't stop the Kazimieshans from trampling all over our wine and other industries. But I had to do something. I'll accept whatever punishment I deserve.
You're not the one on trial here. Murmurs from the gallery only grow louder and louder. Lavinia raises the gavel in her hand, but hesitates for a while before she puts it down without striking the block.
Girl, if you would allow me a few words.
Speak.
I believe the testimonies you've heard from the witnesses you've summoned are sufficient to prove I have no connection to the murder of Paula Memmi.
None of them do. Is there no one with an actual lead?
But Elio Fabri is indeed in my company's employ. I did not compel him myself, and he did engage in activities deemed illegal by the new Urban Management Act, targeting Golden Prairie. I believe his reasons for doing so are perfectly understandable, not just to me, but to every Novo Vosinese sitting in the gallery right now. But a violation of the rules is a violation. I do not expect the court to make an exception for him. Though, as his boss, I am willing to bear the punishment for his crime, be it a fine
or prison sentence.
Oh, come on, man. We know you could either pay the fine or you could get a luxury suite somewhere in the prison. Murmurs are now so loud that even the gavel fails to silence the crowd. Reporters in the back rows leave to contact their newspapers. Lavinia announces the end of the trial, declaring the verdict to be given at a later date following jury deliberations. Okay. Amidst the chaos, Leontuzo catches Dimitri looking at him. They had nothing on him. It was literally a Cabernet we have never seen of. He watches as Dimitri raises his hand, puts his index and middle fingers together, and gently points them towards Leontuzo, then himself. He recognizes the action, a unique gesture they both use since they were little to signal, "Catch you later for a chat." Leontuzo does not respond. Are we gonna find out who the murderer is?
Yes, we've confirmed with the team responsible for guarding that Bellone estate that Elio Fabre did not visit Dimitri Bellone's residence following the murder of Paula Meminger. We have not monitored any calls between them either. In other words, he just spoke of his own accord at the courthouse. That seems to be the case, as far as we can tell. The jury has yet to reach a verdict, so we can only continue to watch the Bellone estate and keep Senor Fabri in custody for now. I'd like to speak with him in private. By all means. Zio Elio, I didn't know that you were Nova Valsini. Oh, I thought Senor Mayor and Judge Lavinia would have come across my name while scrutinizing entry applications from Bellone Associates. I didn't notice. But why are you still with them? I thought, after Padre's death, Familia Bellone lost all the power that it had. You should have left then. I know you never liked having to do things the mafioso way. Leave. I lost my fruit stand. Emma's fever never left her with a lifelong need for medication, and I've been struggling. If Don Dimitri hadn't invited me to join his winery and source grapes for him, I don't know how I would have survived. Nova Valsini provides job opportunities to everyone with a will to shape a future with their own hands. That's so. Do you think the small businesses can still survive under the Kazimierz merchant's seal? With your acts of sabotage, the family used to do the same. The family's ways of doing things, yes, they remind us, every citizen here, of a painful past. I do admit it was a shameful act, but fortunately, Judge Lavinia allowed me an opportunity to speak the truth in court. Lavinia was the one who arranged for you to be here. Yes, sometimes we have no choice but to do only as much as we can, though. You asked me why I was still working with Don Dimitri. It's because he still adheres to the old Familia creed. A pack of whelps of grouping up to help each other and keep all of us from becoming devoured by a bigger beast. I heard your inauguration speech too. I could feel your aspirations. You asked how our neighboring nations would view us. Would they see us as a new possibility? But now, I believe they do. They see us as a new avenue to exploit us for their own gain. Yes, I work for the Dawn. But it is the Bellone business I care for. But is it the Bellone business I care for and want to protect? No. It is our own industry. It is Don Dimitri who gave us this opportunity to unite and stand against the great merchants.
That's gotta be a punch in the gut for Leontuzo, who's worked 2 years and more to ensure that Nova Valsini wouldn't need the family system. Congratulations on your not guilty verdict, Senor Bellone.
Oh, I thought you of all people would be the most eager to see me behind bars.
Just a misunderstanding.
The trial at court clearly proved your innocence, and the entire city knows of your magnanimity. Bro, we saw you talking behind his back. Let's put all the twists and turns that happened during the championship behind us. It is undeniable that your winery took the crown. Saluzzo Vino now holds the title of #1 winery in all of Nuovo Volsini. Truly an enviable feat. Wild. Oh no, they're developing nationalism. It's not really nationalism, it's more of they're reverting back to the family system. Also, what was I about to say about Dimitri? Dimitri's wine was so good that it won the championship honestly, despite having cyanide in it. How good does a wine have to be that you can impress someone? Can you even taste cyanide? Does cyanide have a taste? Cyanide taste knowers? What does cyanide taste like? Hold up, maybe I've said too much. Thanks to you as well. Surely you'll join the next iteration as well. Defending the crown would be a legendary achievement. I think you're just gonna rig it next time. I assume it wasn't rigged before. Okay, it wasn't rigged before. They accidentally mixed up the wine bottles, which was a red herring, because someone else just needed to poison the wine glass for Miss Paula. Perhaps. But as you say, Saluzzo Vino is now the #1 winery in the city. The cyanide gave it an extra tang? No, Paula said that the Saluzzo wine didn't had a taste that it wasn't trying to prove itself. I think that's how she described the taste of Saluzzo wine. So I'm afraid I no longer see the value in joining your so-called competition to increase the value of my products. Am I right? Fair enough. But Elio family damaging a winery's water system is under the ownership of Golden Prairie surely impacts you somehow. You said you'd pay his fine or even serve his time. A noble gesture, but you don't necessarily have to follow through. A trivial matter like that isn't worth a public prosecution in the first place. No one would have noticed the incident had I not filed a lawsuit in the first place. Senor Zadek, you can get straight to your point. What is your goal here? I don't think it's just to repair our working relationship with a tiny favor. Heh, I do appreciate frankness. Regardless of our backgrounds, we are both businessmen now, are we not? So, Senor Bellone, I'd like to discuss a deal with you. Let Golden Prairie invest in Saluzzo Vino. Our strong alliance will surely sweep the Syracusan markets. And if or when the time comes, our business empire will eventually expand beyond Syracuse and Kazimierz. Why does he have to work with you? He's the one with all the cards. Although, never mind. Strike that. Golden Prairie has been buying out the local wineries. Meanwhile, Verdi was one of the only ones that was bought out by Saluzzo. Oh, no, then never mind. I misremembered. They were also bought out by Golden Prairie. They have a lot of properties. Oh, is that so? Indeed. I know you currently do not lack the capital or production tech, and you have your reputation here. But you must be aware of the Kazimierzian General Chamber of Commerce behind me. If we were to work together, our resources, like our comprehensive supply and logistics channels, and even the media channels we have ties with. Are you saying that Saluzzo Vino can become a sponsor at the next major? Are we gonna see Saluzzo Vino's logo on the next night competing at the major? Which night are they gonna sponsor? What if they sponsor Blemishine? Huh. All of that will be available to you.
Actually, no. Golden Prairie should be a brand that's currently sponsoring whatever. Bro, it's been a long time since we've had a major. We need a sequel. It's been enough time. More than 5 years has passed. Another major should be taking place soon. Surely a young upstanding man like yourself doesn't want to stop at a single winery that doesn't even bear your name. Have you never considered establishing a Bologna? No, a Dimitri commercial empire. I think the name Bologna is more important to him, bro. It's how much you don't get about the families of Siracusa.
Intriguing. I didn't expect the trial's outcome to impact your company and judgment so much.
It did indeed leave its mark on my wine business, but Golden Prairie still retains its price advantage.
I'm thinking the KGCC was the impetus behind the effort to discuss a cooperative relationship.
We are businessmen, Senor Bellone. We are naturally, words are hard, driven by the pursuit of maximum profit. It is normal for us to set aside our preferences when discussing a deal in our quest for the most beneficial result. As your employee said, this is how Kazimesh works. So think about it, young man. Don't be in such a rush to refuse me.
Refuse? You think I would do that?
You're not? What? Maybe I had higher expectations of Dimitri. Maybe he is a familia scumbag after all. He doesn't mind shaking hands with the conglomeration that is slowly strangling the local industry. But there's still the issue of the murder. The Intuza arrives at Dimitri's residence late at night. The rain that lasted all day is now reduced to a faint drizzle, gradually slowing to a stop. But his mood remains melancholic. I just realized, this event is just Texas Lappland, except in verse. Wait a minute, this is just yaoi Texas Lappland! Hypergriff, you tricked me! Hold up! Texas and Leon Tuzo? Two people that want to escape the mafia system? And Lappland and Dimitri? Two people chained within the system? Hold up! Security guards from City Hall, who are still at the estate, lead him inside. He thought Dimitri would have come out to meet him, but he is mistaken. Dimitri is simply seated in a chair, a seat decided by the old familiar custom to be the Don's, silently watching him. A dim light over his head obscures his expression. The Intuzo suddenly realizes it has been a long time since he's read any expression from Dimitri's face. I got the hiccups.
Here you are, after all.
Yes. You asked me to come. I don't remember the gesture.
A glass for each of us. I can mix a ginger fizz with apple juice, just you like as a base. Though it's hard to find traditionally pressed apple juice in Nova Volsini these days. I'm sure it's been a while since you've had any. Fortunately, I found someone who could help me acquire it. I'm sure you didn't call me here to reminisce about the old days. Then lower your guard. When I arrived here, I think I spotted the Kazimeshan's car leaving. The boss of Golden Prairie. Zarek. What was he doing here? He wants to work with Saluzovino. I agreed. Why? Why? Is this not what you people at City Hall want? Bringing in foreign capital will help local businesses to thrive and evolve. This is how businesses here and even all across Syracuse will gain access to a wider market. Zarek was here as an agent of the KGCC, and they offered generous terms. I had no reason to refuse. Kazimiersian businessmen aren't as nice as you might think. You worried for me? You managed to gain the Saluzzo's assets with your particular methods. But this doesn't mean you will see the same results as the Kazimiersians. You can only try and see. Also, City Hall will surely protect the interests of us local businesses. Yes.
Bro, he's taunting him. I'm a local business. I'm a legitimate business. And when a legitimate business wants to make business deals with a foreign capitalist, isn't this what you wanted, Leon?
I know an amendment to the new Urban Management Act sits at your desk. Just missing your signature. How do you? There's some of those so-called underhanded familiar methods. We should always seek all the intelligence we can to make the most beneficial decisions. I believe I taught you this long ago. I was grooming you to become the Dawn. That amendment is just a draft. I might not even sign it. You're hesitating. I know. You can't just make up your mind. You fear the people will denounce you, that all your achievements will go to waste, that Nova Volsini will return to the old familiar ways. Should I not be afraid? It's too easy going back to our familiar methods, while new sparks are so hard to start. All the family outside the city are watching our every move. Give them one chance and we'll be torn to shreds, never to recover. But you have more to worry about than just the family. Besides the Kazimiersian and Colombian businessmen who exploit loopholes in the act, there are also the Lathanians trying to expand their influence in the city. Did you know? I received surprising news just before the competition.
Did you know it was about to happen? He knew.
Someone was dispatched here from the Lathanian border for the sole purpose of dispatching the exiled dissident, Paula Memminger.
Oh, okay. So, confirmed, it was Lathanian. Are we gonna continue this? Are we gonna go back and see if we could save our hot goth mommy empress, Hildegard, from the ether side? Hold up. Are we setting up another story in Lathanian?
Lathanian's eternal grace forbids anyone from deviating from their movement, even outside Lathanian territory. And you use this to your advantage. I didn't fan the flames. I simply let it be. Fortunately, things turned out well, and you have a chance to amend the act.
So it really was just a secret third party.
Is this not what City Hall has been waiting for this whole time? I believe Lavinia arranged that trial just for that. I do intend to limit foreign capital here, but that does not mean who else can we even rely on, if not us, local businessmen. Regardless of whether or not we have familiar backgrounds, we are all at least complying with your city rules. We can act as your insurance. Empty promises mean nothing to me. I know you are skeptical of the family, but you should understand we started off as nothing but a band of whelps, powerless against the barons and chaos of Syracuse. We helped those around us and hoped the day might come when we could win something in return to improve our lives. We Syracusans take care of our own. It is our tradition and what I've always done. So after the Don's death, after you left, I took the Villain's reins. Because I cannot let the Familia lose their home. Just as you cannot let the Syracusans lose ground to foreigners from Kazimierz, Lathania, and Colombia. Am I wrong? You will do great things, Leon. One day, you'll actually be able to realize your dreams in Syracuse. I've always believed this. I've heard this from you before, Petri. I said back then that you could be my right-hand man. The offer remains, even now at City Hall. No, grazie. I don't really get along with Lavinia. And as you said before, there are things better suited for her, and only I can handle. Just like right now, some matters are for City Hall to carry out, while others are better for us to do.
Interesting. I think he only made a deal with Zarek just so he could keep his enemies close by. Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. So Saluzzo Vito will be keeping a close watch on Kazimeshan business moving forward.
Your ideas alone cannot keep Nova Volsini alive. The city needs and must have the support of the old family. You sound so certain. You met Senora Cecilia. I'm sure you know well just how happy she is to meet young people with ideas. Your established rules will keep the family Nova Volsini from running amok, while my ways will gather all the power and spirit of Siracusa. This will become a new guns and order for the city, the Untuzo.
As the Untuzo leaves, Dimitri extends a hand towards him. A signal of cooperation. The Untuzo hesitates for a moment before stretching out a hand himself. They used to be close, no strangers to sharing hugs or laughter, but this formal handshake now is the first between them. At the conclusion of their handshake, Dimitri returns to the chair. Then, just like the Untuzo's father and every Syracusan dawn, he disappears into the darkness. The rain is no more. The sky is surprisingly clear and tranquil. That amendment. Are you really okay with it, Lavinia? We used to want for a Siracusa without a trace of the family. I spent more than a decade under the Belon's shadow, Leon. I don't mind waiting a little longer. Then the same goes for me. Dang. We had 2 whole ass limited events about the sovereignty of Nova Volsini from the families for a mini event just to flip things over back to where we started. Okay, fine. It's a slow and gradual process, but we have to fight back the foreign capitalists. And to do that, Nova Volsini needs unity among the Syracusans. Unfortunately, the Mafia, the families, are the strongest system to do that with. Complex politics going on in Syracusa. However, we just got set up with another Lathanian story. Paula was a dissident? They did say that Paula only wanted to perform pieces that she liked. The culture in Lathanian, they usually only like the classics. And also, they imbue witchcraft into they imbue arts into their music. What sort of orchestra was she a part of that they needed to kill her after she defected? This is just set up for more Lathanian stories. I think, what's her name? Repressa? Repressa is gonna be a side character in a story moving forward. But yeah, that'll be that for our story reading of Crossing. Things on Terra are not as peaceful as we thought they were. The energy crisis is still plaguing the rest of the land, even the truckers. Even they said that fuel prices have gone up. A lot of places are struggling on Terra. And everyone is just trying to find their little loopholes to exploit everyone else, whether be it with wars or through business. Such is the way on Terra. Eventually, we have to address Priestess. The veins are drying up, or she's taking them for whatever. I don't know, she wants to make her own Bufan or some shit. Anyway, that'll be that. Thank you to everyone who stopped by, chilled out and chat, used this as second monitor content, and watched us read and react through Crossing. I'm gonna see you friendos next time for some more Arknights. Bye bye, friendos.